Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Quick note, I may possibly on Tuesday put the episode out a little bit later so I can talk about the Emmys at the beginning. If I do that, it'll be out probably by 8 a.m. Eastern. Usually it comes out at 3 a.m. Eastern. The Emmys are tonight. Anthony Anderson is your host. Comedy-wise, the nominees for actor in a comedy series are Bill Hader for Barry, Jason Segel for Shrinking, Martin Short, Only Murders, Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, Jeremy Allen White, The Bear. Everybody seems to be on a bear kick. Is it the year of the bear, or will they give... Hader really deserves it, though. We'll see. Actress in a comedy series. Christina Applegate, Dead to Me. Rachel Brosnahan, Mrs. Maisel. Quinta Brunson, Abbott. Natasha Lyonne, Poker Face. Janet Ortega, Wednesday. Quinta Brunson will probably win that one as my guess. And talk series, Trevor, Kimmel, Seth, Colbert, Jon Stewart. And yes, it's The Daily Show with Trevor nominated. Didn't he leave like in January last year? When did he leave? Trevor left in December of 2022. These are the 2023 Emmys. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah? Please give it to that so it can be completely absurd. Nominees for Outstanding Comedy Series. Abbott Elementary, Barry the Bear, Jury Duty, Mrs. Maisel, Murders, Lasso, Wednesday. Abbott's going to win that one. From Car Scoops, your home for comedy news, Jerry Seinfeld sold his car for $164,000. Jerry only revealed that he owned the car the day before the auction ended. This is the 1996 Porsche 911 that Jerry Seinfeld drove to his show. 26,000 miles on it. For a 1996 car, that's impressive. Nowhere on the auction page was it listed that the car belonged to Jerry, a decision that he implied was intentional. But apparently Jerry went on Spike's Car Radio podcast and said, this is the car that I would drive to work when I was doing the series in the 90s. So if you're a fan of the show and you want Porsche memorabilia for the show, this would be the piece. Spike's Car Radio is a show? Let me see. Oh, Spike is going to be, I'm typing as I talk. Spike's going to be Spike Feresten, his friend. Yep, Spike Feresten. Cars, Coffee, and Comedy, hosted by comedian and automotive enthusiast Spike Feresten, and featuring Jerry Seinfeld and some others. Let's see, the Jerry episode came out a few days ago. Reggie Watts was on in January. It's 340 episodes of this. All right, I'm going to check this out. Spike's Car Radio is the name of that one. Jerry explains that after buying the car new, he drove it to the set of Seinfeld every day from 96 to 98. Those were the show's final 3 seasons. Jerry added that the Target top, which was frequently cited as the source of issues by owners, presented no problems for him in his time with the car. The only concern of note is that the front fenders and the fuel door show evidence of paint work. It's unclear why Jerry sold that car. He said he sold 7 cars last year, and he teased that he'll be selling 5 cars this year. Looks like Conan O'Brien is finally filming that travel show for Max, HBO Max, Max, HBO Max. Conan was in Ireland, visiting where his great-grandfather lived before great-granddad emigrated in the late 1870s. Conan shared some video, and let's listen.
This is pretty cool. I'm just outside the town of Galbally, and this is where my great-grandfather, Thomas O'Brien, lived. This was actually his view. And he left this piece of land, came to America, moved to central Massachusetts, and, well, the rest is a disaster. But anyway, cool to be back.
Speaking of traveling, Trevor Noah caught up with CN Traveler. He said he was really excited about Paris. I'd spent my whole life wanting to go to Paris and finally went for the first time a few years ago. I've been dying to go back and do shows since, and I've always wanted to do comedy in Japan, so that was on my bucket list as well. Right now, I'm selfishly traveling back to the places I enjoy. I'll travel anywhere just to go and have one of my favorite dishes, see one of my favorite sites, or hang out with some of my favorite people. CN Traveler was curious how he adapts his work for different audiences, like a joke that works in Tokyo might not work in London. Trevor said, to be honest with you, that's the joy and curse of doing stand-up all over the world. I think a lot of my audiences have come to know me as a comedian who caters a show to them when I visit. So if you see my show in London, then you see my show in Scotland, it's completely different. There may be a few things that overlap, but I really try and cater to the place I'm in. It's hard. I try and I do my best to understand all the cultural nuances, but comedy's all about context. And if you don't have the context, you might find the joke doesn't go the way you want to. It's a tightrope walk, and I think that's what makes stand-up comedy fun. Live audiences understand that. Travel always makes me aware that there's no one way to be. There's no one correct answer to every problem in life. You go from one country to the next, and people drive on the other side of the road, and they're traveling on the other side of the car. They're eating their meals at different times in different orders. They speak to each other in different tones in different ways. Traveling's a wonderful way to realize, even though you've been brought up thinking there's one way to do things, there are actually many other ways that are just as valid. Jenny Slate has a new stand-up special coming out in February. It is called Seasoned Professional. You'll find it on Prime Video. With the new hour, Jenny Slate hopes to prove that being brave for love is worth it, even when it comes to pushing out a baby, stalking your therapist, or, comedy rule of 3, trusting your partner to not destroy you. There is a clip available, but she swears a lot, and I couldn't make it work. I'd have to cut up the whole thing, so I won't do that. Paul Scheer has a new book. It is called Joyful Recollections of Trauma. It's about, quote, Paul's often shocking, admittedly messed up childhood and how the experiences of his youth have reverberated throughout his life. Paul has always been unafraid to go there, to play naive, cringeworthy characters, imbuing them with a disarming charm and humanity. That daring openness is on display in the pages of this memoir. Nothing's off limits, from reckoning with his stepfather's alcoholism to finding self-acceptance to becoming a good father himself. Dennis Miller has a new gig for Fox Nation. He'll be the host of The Infomercials That Sold Us, a nostalgic and poignant look back at the years when infomercials ruled late-night TV, featuring interviews with the colorful characters who made these ads so entertaining. Dennis says, I'm very proud to be part of this project. It's easy to dismiss the Willy Lomans who hawk products on late-night TV as nothing more than easy punchlines, but the infomercials that sold us shows the humanity of these pitch people who came from nothing, and armed with self-belief and perhaps a fine mop, made themselves wealthy and famous. It's the ultimate American success story. 3 episodes. Esther Pavitsky will star in a new comedy film called Drugstore June. The logline: after the pharmacy in her small town is robbed, a girl who still lives at home with her parents takes matters into her own hands to solve the crime, while at the same time trying to get over her ex-boyfriend and become more of an adult. Why are you mentioning this, Johnny Mac? Well, Esther's a comedian, so are co-stars Bobby Lee, Matt Walsh, Christina P., and Al Madrigal, okay? Bill Burr and Al Madrigal are the executive producers on this. And I saw a note in an interview with Pete Correale with the Independent Rhode Island. Pete mentioned, I'm going to be heading out on a tour with Sebastian Maniscalco as well in 2024, and we've been talking about doing a bit of a reality show on our own based on being out on the road. Interesting, that would be cool. Pete's a good guy. I worked with him for 7-8 years. That's your comedy news for today. Like I mentioned, I may or may not put out Tuesday's episode a few hours later, but I will be here. See you tomorrow.